In this episode, we're going to add custom rotating saw blades that are going to fill in the empty spaces, and we're also going to improve the first part as a whole, make it a bit more polished. Okay, so now there's also something missing. In here, it looks like there's something missing or something. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to have to come up with a new idea, a new type of thing that you can place in here. And you could go with saw blades if you want to. And I think for this video, I'm going to go for them because they can also teach you how to make the rotate trigger with them, because it is very important to know that as well, because we're going to use this one, and this one doesn't rotate by default. You guys can see that if you add this one and that one of them rotates and the other one doesn't. It doesn't even have any hitbox. Why? Because this is just decoration. Okay, nice. So we want to add this one, and I'm thinking of giving it either this color or the color, and this one actually looks pretty good, or the color of red. Let me see. So copy and paste it, and I might actually use one time this one and one time that one, so I'm going to switch between them, maybe. So what we're going to do is we're also going to add glow to make it more appealing. So we're going to next free blending, make it red, and then you can change the color in here. Make sure you change from this guy, yeah, like that, very bright. And then in here we want to change this one like that. All right, this looks pretty nice. And now we want to rotate it. How do we rotate this? This is very important because we're going to have to copy and paste it, so it's not going to be that easy. So you're going to give this one a group ID of 12, and then this one is going to have a group ID of 13. And then what we're going to do is we're going to rotate 12 around 13. So if we put rotate trigger, want to rotate 12 around 13 by, let's say, degrees. We don't want to degrees, we want to have times 360. So if you do 1 in here, that means you have done this, right? So 360 degrees times 1, right? So what we want to do is so the target group ID is basically this one. So this one is the one that's going to rotate, and the center group ID is around what do you want to rotate it. So if you click on this and go into extra over here, and then go to group parents, and then you select both of them and then click on rotate, you guys are going to see that they're going to rotate around this thing, and this is how it's going to be in the rotate trigger. So this is the center object, right? You don't have to do this in order for the rotate to work, but this is just to visualize how it's going to look like. So 12 to 13, we want to rotate it by 360, so 1 times around, in about 3 seconds. And now you guys are going to see that if you put it at the start, it's going to start rotating. So we want to bring it exactly at the same spot as those guys, so that it just rotates around itself. It rotates around itself. And yeah, it is very nice. And I feel like you want to make it, you don't want to make it too fast and also not too slow. You want to make it perfect with the flow of the level. This is very important because you guys can see that there's a lot of stuff already moving on the screen. We have the fire, we have the particles, and we have these spikes, as well as the lava, and all of them kind of have a speed on which they are moving. So we want to kind of recreate that speed for the saw blade. So if I did something like insane like this, it's going to rotate really fast. It just looks out of place, right? You want to have an environment where, you know, everything feels good. So if it rotates 1 time around its axis in 3 seconds, it is a cool thing. However, it's going to stop after 3 seconds because the duration line ends over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a 0 and a 0 over here. What it's going to do is just multiply both values by 10, which means instead of rotating once in 3 seconds, it's going to rotate 10 times in 30 seconds. So it's basically going to have the exact same rotation speed, but it's just going to last for a lot longer. And this is important because we're going to have all of these triggers already set at the beginning, so that we don't have to, you know, copy and paste it all along. I kind of feel like it's a bit too slow, so I'm going to duplicate this number by 2. So this is going to be 60 then, and then I'm going to duplicate this number by 2. It's going to be 20. So this way, this lasts for a whole minute, and it does like 20 rotations. That is perfect. Now what you could also do, because this is one single object that you want to rotate, let me show you something real quick. So we said this one is object group ID 12, and this one, the glow, is object 13. So we're rotating 12 around 13. And now you may say, why don't we just rotate this one around itself? Why did we have to give this one a group ID? And look at this. If we actually add this one over here and we make this 12, that means 12. So this one rotates around itself like that. But isn't that exactly what we want? Look at this. If we just add the glow on top of it, that is pretty much the same thing. And we used one less group ID. And that is true, but this could make you a problem if this object is more than one. So for example, let's say I add this one and I want to have some fancy stuff added, right? I want to add something I always like to add is this stuff like that. And then maybe do it like this. And then maybe have like a nice little something going on over there, right? Then you copy and paste and then copy and paste that and then this. And now you want this to rotate with them, right? So you give them the group ID of 12. And now if you start, it's going to get a bit funny. So you guys can see that everything broke and nothing works anymore. And that is because when you say a group ID should rotate around itself, it basically just means that every object is going to rotate around itself. So the reason for that is because this one, for example, is just going to rotate around itself because it is 12, right? What you could do to fix this is make this one a group parent, meaning this one is the main 12. So this one is like I am main 12. There's only one parent always. There's no two parent, group ID. There's always only one. So now the game knows that this is the center and it rotates everything around it. So this is perfect. But there's a small problem in here. And it's that, just like I told you, there is one single group parent for everything. You can't have two. So what this means is that if I quickly move this up a bit, and I just want to have, because this is too chaotic down there. So what I want to do is actually put a start position. Just for testing, I like to do this. Just put a start position up there and just a ground for quick testing. And yeah, this works perfectly, but now the problem is that we're going to have a lot of these saw blades, so we're going to have to copy and paste them. And if we do, and you guys can see that it's going to get a bit chaotic. Yeah. So what you could do is click on here and then build helper. And what this is going to do, it is a very unique button, a bit hard to understand, but let me explain it. So this one basically assigns new unused group IDs to the current selected object. So in this case, this one had the group ID of 12, and then it changed it to 13 and 14. And as well as this trigger, the IDs were changed to correspond with those objects' group IDs. And now if you play, you can see that the first one works, but the second one doesn't work. And the reason for that is because when we copy and pasted it, we had more than one parent, which is not allowed. So what happened is this one stayed the parent and this one is no longer the parent. So that is a big problem. And as a result, you're going to have to go into here and make this one the group parent. And now they start working very nice. And now that I'm thinking about it, I might actually add these guys as actual decoration because they kind of look pretty cool, I must say. Okay, I'm actually going to add them. They look pretty nice. Okay, so instead of just getting around all of this problem, what you can do is simply give this glow a different group ID. So let's say, for example, all of these guys are 12 and this one is 13. So 12 around 13. And what this means is that it's just going to take all of them, and because there's no group parent, it's going to take one single object that has 13 as the thing. And now if we copy and paste 13, there are now two centers, which doesn't make any sense. So the game just kind of bugs out and starts rotating them against around each other. So you want to make sure that there is only one center object over here. And if it's the same, it's going to be a parent object ID. And nice. Okay, so now what we can do, now that we have this, we can copy and paste it. And right now we have two center objects. That is illegal. So what we want to do is click here on build helper. And now you can see that we can simply copy and paste this all over again. So what I want to try and do is actually make it a red one. I want to see how the red one is going to look like. And to do that, we simply copy the values of this one and paste the color only. Why? because if you click on paste state, it's going to paste the group IDs of this one into that one. But this one doesn't have any group IDs because that one is, we copied it from the rotate from the one below. So now we have this one is red, and now the glow, want to move it like that, copy the glow, paste the color only, and like that. And I also want to change these guys to kind of be yellow so that they are kind of the opposites, like that. And now we have, yeah, it should work pretty nice. Yeah, it doesn't work because, see, now I made a mistake because I forgot to click on the build helper to basically add, to kind of like renew the group IDs and add them in here automatically. Nice. Now, yeah, you guys can see if you go to platformer mode just quickly, platformer mode basically just allows you to preview things. That's how I like to see it. And add like a wall like that, select it all, go to edit group, extra, and passable. This basically makes these blocks passable so that you can go through them and also land on them. This is very nice for like showcasing things quickly. And you guys can see that this is looking pretty good. This is starting to look really, really nice. So make sure to switch back to classic mode. And yeah, nice. So what we want to do is I kind of like this one more. The yellow one, I kind of like more. So I'm just going to use that one instead of the red one. I'm going to copy and paste, build helper, and then you can choose all of those guys and build helper, choose all of those guys and build helper. Now we have a lot of saw blades that we can use in here. We can't just copy and paste them like that. If we have, then we're going to delete this one. Which is why just, you know, just move it in here like that instead of having to, you know. But yeah, you guys get the idea. So what we want to do is I'm actually going to just move it around in here. Make sure to save every few seconds because otherwise you're going to lose your progress. That's not that very cool. And like that, boom, boom. Okay, now you can see that there is a problem. And the first problem is that we actually don't have a hitbox on these guys. So we're going to add this nice little saw blade. Click on here, make it hide. Or you can choose to add this 5. It really doesn't matter. But the difference is that this one automatically does it without having to use a color ID. But the cool thing about this one is that you can actually, so this is it by default. And if you have a lot of like objects that have this, that are on this like hide, what you can do is hide invisible. You can disable this one and then you can see all of these objects that are invisible. So you can click on F6 on your keyboard and then see these guys. So that is very nice. So now enable hitboxes. You guys can see, and this is not bad. You want to move it up a little bit so the player doesn't feel scared to jump. Yeah, like that. And now it's time to actually add a few chains kind of leading up this thing. And let's see, where are the chains? I want to just look around for a chain that looks pretty good. This one is way too small, I know. And that one might look good, actually. Let me just test it out. So we want to copy the color of this one and then paste it onto this chain. And honestly, this is looking pretty good. This is honestly looking not bad. So like that, and we have a chain, which looks pretty nice. And now what we want to do is simply add those guys into their places. And I'm just going to play through this first part so that I can actually see where I can place the saw blades and whatnot. So in here, we can add one like that, perhaps. And then the next one will go, I don't know, maybe in here. Yeah, in here sounds good. And then what we want to do is simply just select all of these chains and copy and paste them like so. Nice. Okay, and also I recommend deleting stuff that is outside the screen you can't see. All right, so this is looking very nice. We have rotating saw blades and yeah, we have a nice little design. So another thing I love to add is every time there's this intersection over here where these blocks go like that and then these ones come like that very strictly, I like to add a black glow, which is this one, the very thick one. Add it on maybe like B1 and then give it a black color. And you guys can see that it looks very, very nice. It kind of adds depth into the level, which is what we want. Depth is always pretty cool. And I'm also thinking of adding shadows onto the guys that are on top. Maybe something like this, like that should be pretty good. And like this, and kind of spam it like that. And then copy and paste it in here, and yeah, that's it. And you can select all of these guys, and then copy and paste, and then right up. And now this way, you have one remaining pixel, select these guys, copy and paste. And now we have this one, which is the final one, and we're gonna do this, and that's nice. Like that should be, yeah, that's pretty nice, looking pretty good. And now I kind of wanna, Actually, I don't like decorating the beginning that much because I like leaving that to the end so that I actually know how the atmosphere is going to be, like the final product, how that's going to look like. So yeah, make sure you look into your level, make sure there is no weird stuff. So, and that's it for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to make the ship part. We're going to add a design to the ship part and also use the area trigger for some insane movements.